Right. Hi, Atul Gopal from Plugin India. Glad to be back with Anand Kulkarni. Last time we met him in Bombay during the launch of the
Tiago.ev.
Tiago.ev. Right. It was not the petrol or the CNG Tiago, but it was the EV Tiago. And that time we had a promise from him that he would invite us for some more community questions related to the EV family. And here we are at his office in Pimpri. So thank you, Anandji, for kind of inviting us over. So we'll start with a few Tiago related questions continuing from the previous thread. First one is from Amit Gupta, who happens to be a colleague at Plugin India, a potential Tata EV owner. Congratulations for the successful launch of the Tiago.ev. Did the management at Tata Motors expect such booking numbers, and what do you attribute the success to?
Well, thank you. Amit, thank you very much for the question. I think it's a fantastic reception that we have received to the Tiago.ev. And if you ask me whether we did expect this kind of response or not, we said at the time of launch as well that it's a segment that has a significantly high sale in the ICE segment, and plus the utility of the vehicle and the features that we've been able to pack into it, it makes for an extremely good combination of performance, of economy, of aspirational features, of the ability to have an electric powertrain along with its refinement, performance, etc. And therefore I think it's a very complete package. Therefore yes, the response has been good, and I would say that it is in line with what we would have expected.
Correct. But the real taste is going to be in the delivery, and I hope we have better news that follows in January 2023.
Sure.
Okay, next question from 26 Herbs, who's a YouTube subscriber for us. And please provide a 19 kilowatt hour variant with Tech Plus Lux. I am forced to buy 24 kWh because I don't get the features of Tech Plus Lux. Your response on that?
So I hear the question. I hear the suggestion as well. We have a certain stack up of features, as well as the way that the entire varianting takes place, and therefore it gives our customers the ability to have a very complete package at the lower end as well as at the higher end, depending upon their choice. However, what you have suggested, we may be able to take into account, but not at this current point of time, and we will certainly think about it later. But thank you for your suggestion.
Sure. Similar question, this time from Birshu Sarma, again a subscriber to our YouTube channel. Sir, I have back and leg pain, so I booked a Tiago EV, but my budget is tight. I can't afford the XT version, and I can only afford the XT version, and in the brochure XT does not have seat height adjustment. Something that can be done.
Birshu, thank you for this question. I would say even without a seat height adjustment, the Tiago seats are extremely comfortable, because we spend a lot of time in making sure that lumbar support, back support and thigh support are absolutely of the highest levels, and that's what Tata cars are known for. The height adjustment just gives a certain amount of flexibility in terms of for a person to place himself either higher or lower, but the seat comfort and the ergonomic placement even of the non-seat height adjustable seat is as good, and therefore I would suggest to Birshu, have a look at what's the comfort on offer and then make the choice.
Sure. I would have thought that a seat height adjustment is particularly good for people who have height which is a little bit on
Correct.
the lower side.
Correct.
So if Bishuji, that is not really your problem, I don't think you will have too much of an issue. But of course, like Anandji said, try it, and if it kind of works for you, great. If not, probably we'll kind of
yeah.
Right.
No, I'm relatively sure, because we've had the Tiago exists in its ICE avatar, and there have been a large number of customers who've appreciated the overall ergonomic feel and the comfort of the seats, and I'm sure Birshu will also be able to have a look at it.
Sure.
So just try it out, Birshu.
Okay. Now, so moving on from Tiago questions to the Nexon and the Tigor community questions. So this one is from Vaibhav, who's a Nexon EV owner. And he's got an interesting question. I've not taken any software updates at all, and my car was delivered 22 months back. I intend to keep it this way as long as possible. Although the Prime update is tempting, and in spite of having said this, now Weber wants to know, would you recommend that I go for the latest software update and why?
Well, Vaibhav, I mean, I don't know what to say about this, because on one side you are tempted with something that we've done recently, and on the other side you are actually giving the certificate that what we did in the first case was absolutely perfect for you, so thank you for that. I would say, look, what does the Prime update offer? The Prime update offers you the ability to have multi-mode region. It gives you cruise control. It gives you certain additional features that we have learned on the basis of data that we have collected over a period of time. But if you are happy with what you have right now, particularly in terms of the region levels and the performance levels, etc., and you are happy with it, I would, as a customer, you have the choice. We won't force anything on you, but of course the update does provide a certain level of convenience and comfort that our customers were looking forward to, and therefore it's a facility that has been extended to them. I leave the choice to you, really.
Okay. Next question from Karan Desai of Mumbai. You are aware of actuator charging gun issues bothering hundreds of Nexon EV owners, which is spoiling the other reputation of an otherwise excellent car. What's the team doing to permanently solve this?
Right. So you are right, and Karan, we've had this problem. And this has come to our attention. Our team has been working on it. The actuator getting stuck has been seen in many cases on account of mud getting entrapped, and therefore we have released sort of a cover which makes sure that a mud entrapment does not happen, or the plunger works properly. And this has actually been released into the field. A lot of people have taken benefit of this, and therefore I would suggest that if you haven't got this updated already on your car, please get it updated. The results are good.
This is being provided free of cost to?
This is being provided in the field on specific cases, but Karan can probably check it out with his dealership, and if there is any support that needs, we will be happy to provide.
Sure enough. So Karan, I hope you end up doing that and your problems will be history then after that. But next question, this is from Gaurav Rathod of Pune. We have been noticing Nexon and Tigor EV charging up to 100% and when on a 60 kilowatt charger, then there are critical alerts that happen and cars have had to be towed to service center. This happens only at 60 kilowatt charges. Your reaction to that?
Yeah, so we've also seen this, and in specific cases where we sent our teams to investigate, you know what also needs to be done is, or what also needs to be understood is, that there is a charging protocol and a handshake that happens between the car and the charger. In some cases, or where the specific problem has been noticed, the handshake protocol was not completed, and therefore, for example, if I were to get into the details of this, while the charger shut off the charging, it did not hand over a signal back to the car to say that the actuator should be disengaged, and that caused this problem of the gun getting stuck and the critical error coming on. We've done two things. We've worked with this particular charger supplier, and we've got their protocols changed, improved, and they've readily accepted this. Obviously, as we know, more and more people are now coming into this entire space, and we try and work with most of them. We would want to work with all of them. Sometimes it is practically impossible, but every time that a problem of this sort comes, our teams make sure that they go across, work with that, and make sure that a fix is available. This is an evolving space, and unfortunately, if there are areas in which the protocol does get exposed a little bit and completion is not there, I think we'll have to work towards improvements in this area.
Right. I think it's a new ecosystem, so obviously it takes time to settle in, but I think it's a good idea that the community is bringing these issues up, and I think the team at Tata Motors has promised to look into it.
We do that, yes.
Okay, so this one is a very serious question from Amit Arya of Delhi. We were promised an update on the lone fire incident. We've not heard since then. What's the progress, and on that particular thing.
Right. So on this particular thing, what we said after the incident, and you are all aware that there was a government instituted committee. The committee came around and investigated. We fully cooperated with the entire investigation, and all the necessary documents and all the necessary details have already been submitted to the committee. I think we would wait for the committee to come back and say what their findings were. It would not be appropriate for us to sort of take that call right now because it was a committee that was instituted by the government.
Right. So I think fair question, and we would really hope for a little bit more prompt response. I don't know. This is something that we need to probably take up with the government when it kind of appoints these committees where there is a time frame which is specified. But by and large, you know, a lot of people are running Tata cars on the roads, and it's a concern for all of them. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that there will probably be some corrective action that will happen as a result of the findings of this committee. And hopefully when that comes out, we'll come back to Anand and we'll ask him the same question about what changes have been made in the process or in the design in order to ensure that such incidents, the probability of that kind of comes down in the future. Right.
Sure.
Next question is from Tabriz, who's from Bombay, and he observes that the AC 15 ampere charge rate has been reduced post the prime update, and he wants to know if that is true, and if yes, then why.
Right. So when we did the prime, I'm going back in the past a little bit. We had kept it at a certain rate. Now, what we noticed is in the first couple of summers, there were some isolated incidents where localized heating of the plugs was noticed because it was pulling in a certain amount of amperes current. Now, while these were isolated cases, we want to be absolutely sure that it does not lead to any untoward incident, and therefore, with the prime update as well as on the Max, we've deliberately cut down a little bit, because what happens is you do not want to get into a duration cycle or anything, and you want it to be consistently better. Therefore, we've cut down on the amperage that gets into the car a little bit, and that has resulted in a slight amount of increase in the charging time. But overall, it makes it that much, it expands the envelope of safety, and therefore it's a better upgrade when it comes to safety or any other untoward incidents, even in the worst case summer conditions.
Right. So Tabriz, I think very good answer. I hope you're satisfied with that. And I think at any point of time, the convenience and the safety, both of the, we need to kind of look at a path which is somewhere in the middle. And I think that's a trial and error thing, and it will kind of continue to happen. Probably as the company gets more data, you might want to change that policy in future also, but I would say that
it's not so we have adequate amount of data. It's the data is not the issue. But then what happens is you need to look at power conditions, you need to look at local temperature conditions, and what is the condition of charge of the vehicle. So while adequate validation is always done right up front, but as I said, this is a minuscule percentage of cars where this was noticed, and we wanted to make it absolutely sure. So this is in the interest of just being absolutely sure, but not really on account of less data or not having checked it earlier or anything of that sort.
Right. Okay, so erring on the side of caution.
It is always better to be cautious. Yes.
Fair enough. So this is a question from one of the more popular guys in our EV group, Ashish in Gurgaon, and he wants to know if TML can reset the flag, especially when charging in 60 kilowatts, and reset the critical error remotely via telematics instead of us taking the car to the service center and connecting it to the laptop.
So it looks like a tempting suggestion, Ashish, but and you are more aware than anyone else. The critical alerts can be on account of various things, and therefore to sort of take a decision saying that this critical alert is only on account of this would be speculating a little bit. And right now we shouldn't be doing that in the interest of safety. Critical error is a critical error, so let's have somebody look at it. I understand that there are difficulties because of the 60 kilowatt charger, which, as I said earlier, we're trying to solve, but I wouldn't recommend setting it via remote telematics or any such thing.
Next question is from Professor C.S. Kumar of IIT Kharagpur, and his question is, on the reverse there's no speed control, and this has caused an accident to him, so speed should be limited in reverse. So you probably are aware a little bit about it, and Professor Kumar has had some discussions with you, so maybe it will be a good idea if you formally reply to this question.
Sure. Hello, Professor C.S. Kumar. We've had long discussions on this earlier also, but I would only say, for the benefit of the larger audience also, that the reverse gear speed in this case is limited at 30 kilometers an hour, which is more or less in line with what ICE vehicles also do. The second thing is, Professor Kumar also refers to the accelerator pedal input, the sharpness of the accelerator pedal input. So that's already dulled down. So it's not as sharp as in the forward gear, specifically for the same reason. The other additional aspect is, I think there was also a suggestion that if we could reduce the amount of torque that went into the car in the reverse direction, specifically for making sure that such an accident does not take place, or the driver is not caught unawares. Unfortunately, we have to cater to conditions where sometimes the vehicle may have to start in the reverse on up an incline, because that's a real life condition.
Correct.
And therefore, if you throttle down the torque in that condition, then people who get stuck in that situation will come back and say the car is not tractable, and therefore we have to make sure that all of these conditions are properly judged, but these safety measures are already in place.
And that reminds me that in those good old days, I think with Tata trucks themselves, the reverse gear had a slightly better ratio. So if the vehicle was not climbing in front gear, they would reverse it and then make it climb.
Well, that's a tough one, but the tractability of the car needs to be ensured, whether forward or reverse, and we have to do that.
Okay. Next question from Naren. Can we have OTA updates in all the systems in the car? Right now it happens only in telematics, but not in VCU, BMS, etc.
No, so right now the entire architecture is not capable of doing it everywhere. We had a conscious choice at the time of development of the Nexon EV, but as we go on, we will bring more features for OTA, and we will keep you updated at
sure. Next question from Suraj Premnath, and he's talking about the high voltage wires which are running below the chassis, and is there any way to kind of encase them or cover them? And there have been rat issues also which have been involved for some people.
Yeah, so the rat issues probably very, very isolated. We now have close to 40,000 cars, and I think apart from one or maybe a couple, we haven't had any issues. But I do agree that sometimes the bright orange, we've been asked whether that can be coated black. Unfortunately, it can't because it's a regulatory issue. Right. But we are looking at a cover which sort of makes it more aesthetic and does not cause that bright spot to be seen very easily.
Right. Okay. Next question is from Viresh Malik of Delhi. Wants to know, can we have a dedicated EV specific workshop? And second part of this question is, can we have an escalation matrix where if our dealer is not able to satisfy, can we kind of have a process by which we can go to some other dealer or to somebody in the company? Or
so the escalation matrix exists today. So if the dealer is not able to do it, the customer support team can certainly be approached, and they are being approached in certain cases, and they will definitely look at the case and help resolve the issue at the fastest. As concerns the first question, Viresh, about a separate a separate channel, a separate outlet, I think it's a very valid point, and with numbers of EVs increasing, it makes sense for that. So we are looking at how do we do this, because not only is it related to the service point, but it will also probably relate to some other aspects also. Right now I'm not in a position to give any more details on this, but rest assured that this is a point that is being looked at, and at an appropriate time we will come back to you, hopefully sooner than later.
Fair enough. Next question from Hari Shankar of Kochi. Any plan by Tata for a battery pack buyback if at all a battery needs to be replaced or if the car is out of warranty?
So Harishankar, this kind of questions used to come to us much earlier when the Nexon EV was launched, and in the last couple of years I think we've been able to take these fears out to a large extent, but thank you for raising this one more time. I would only say that amongst the early adopters of Nexon EV, there are a lot of people who have now covered more than 100,000 kilometers, and we've utilized this the data from these customers to look at how is the battery degradation happening. And one of the things that we are noticing is the degradation is actually lower than what would have otherwise been expected, which is good news, and which says a lot about the choices that were made in terms of either the cooling system or the charge discharge rates, etc. So I would think that these batteries are going to last for a significant period of time, either in terms of kilometers or in terms of the number of years, in terms of calendar life or number of cycles also. Having said that, the fear can still exist as to what happens. I think we are working with people to create solutions for that. It would be a little premature on my part to answer those right away, because this is a very fast evolving space, and therefore a completely different solution could also be made to exist. So I would just say right now that the fear of a battery going off within say 8 or 9 years is looking like remote, and we will work out a solution by the time we actually come to that point.
Fair enough. And Harishankar, if you got a solar panel in your house by then, so one suggestion could be to take out that battery pack and use that to kind of to get some pack energy storage done for your own solar panel. So hopefully you'll kind of end up doing that, and we don't have to worry about kind of that solution for some more years again. Right. Next question is from Naveen, and I'll read out his question. Is it really necessary, even in the newer Nexons, to bring the charge down to 10% once a month and do a 100% charge for full calibration? And if yes, how many cycles should it be done after or whatever?
So it's not a case of newer Nexons or older Nexons. It's just the way that electric vehicles behave, and looking at the size of the batteries, etc. So there are flags which are placed in the entire SOC zone, and these flags are used to calibrate and establish balance between the batteries. So I would say it is important for all users to sort of go up to 100% once in a while. We see that most people tend to use it only for opportunity charges, and typically people drive for 40-45 kilometers, and every alternate day they would go ahead and charge. While the batteries cope up with this, but in order to have the fullest effectiveness of the batteries, we should once in a while allow the entire flag to get set, because there can be certain level of imbalances which might come in, and I would definitely advise that. I do it on my car as well.
What frequency?
So I do it at least once every couple of charge cycles, and I don't keep continuously opportunity charging. I run it at least for 200 plus odd kilometers on my max before I put the car into charge, and that actually has helped me sort of stay absolutely okay. But I would definitely urge you guys to do 100% slow charge, because that's what sets the flags properly.
Correct. And every 3-4 cycles, one cycle should be a slow charge cycle,
and it is not
100%.
And it is not difficult.
Correct. So it's just a question of kind of having the discipline to go in the evening, plug it in and take it out in the morning.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. Next question is from Parth Patel of Gujarat. Is it possible to show the state of health on each service to the owner of the car, and if it's possible to show it on the ZConnect app?
So we have debated this earlier. Showing it on the ZConnect app is not likely to happen. But even to a user, I mean, once Tata Motor has taken warranty of the entire thing for 8 years, etc. Showing it to the customer at this point of time was not thought to be a very important parameter. I understand that there can be a lot of curiosity as to what is happening and how their specific batteries are working, shaping up. But at the moment, this feature has not been enabled.
Possibly, what might happen, Anand, is that suppose I am looking at the second-hand car market evolving.
Possible.
And when I go to value a car, and if I know the state of health, I might be ready to pay a little bit more or a little bit less depending on what the state of health is.
So we are looking at whether this needs to be done, but so far we have not enabled it.
Fair. Okay, next question is from Avinesh Saroha of Delhi. After Prime Day update, users have started facing different kinds of problems like slow gear shifting, slow charging, I think that we've covered, charging spikes after 80-85%. So any comments on that?
So you are right. This
charging,
So charging related, we have spoken about already. When the car gets updated, it also leads to a recalibration of the entire thing, and therefore, if there are any imbalances, those charging spikes could happen. More importantly, I think in cases where these jumps are taking place, we've seen that people prominently opportunity charge, and as a result of that, they're not allowing the batteries to sort of regain. And we have already said just now that it is better to have a 10% to 100% charge once in a while. So I would suggest that if there are problems of this sort, after the upgrade, please undergo one full charge and come back, and then the flags will set themselves up, and it should work much more comfortably.
Sure. Sanjay Chawla from Delhi. Charging stations listed in the ZConnect are outdated, and please use the database of Google Maps or PlugShare. And PlugShare is, by the way, we donated our own database of charging points to PlugShare of Plug in India. Yeah, please.
No, so thank you for that suggestion, and we'll definitely take that up.
Okay. Ayush Meghani, the Ziptron box, which is the one which is installed by Tata Motors power supply, support is not good. Legrand charges for every component failure. Installation issues have led to failure of the box. So any comment that you'd like to give to Ayush?
So Ayush, it is precisely for this reason that Tata Power sort of has end-to-end delivery in this, and I'm really sorry if you've had multiple issues on the Legrand box. This is an ecosystem that is developing, and we are working to make sure that this is absolutely seamless in the hands of the customer. But in case there are any specific things, please through Atulji write back to me, tell me what the exact issue was, and we'll see how it can be covered, how it can be managed, not only for you but also for similar kind of things if the other customers are facing.
Sure. Next question is from Manuji of Kerala, and his question is, if possible, can we make brake pedal regeneration irrespective of level selection as it used to happen in the good old days? And it was better before 2.1 VCU, was more aggressive. Your comments on that?
Well, it is not more aggressive, or it wasn't more aggressive. It was sharper, I would say, in the initial part. And in fact, thank you, because it just says that it's a certificate for us that what we did as release first time on was absolutely spot on. But I think a larger majority of customers have this feedback where they do not want a sudden deceleration to come through, and they want this to be more smoother, they want to be more controllable, they want it to be more linearized, and therefore we actually took this feedback and we built it into the 2.1 release. If the car has been updated to 2.1, I'm sorry, we can't go back to the previous release because at any given point of time there can be only one version of software. Therefore, this choice could have been exercised before the updation, not after the updation. But Ayush, I want to tell you that don't feel afraid whether this entire thing is less regeneration or not. It is actually the same. The initial knee point has been adjusted so that people don't get a sharper response. That's about it. It's more linearized, more manageable, and therefore better for people.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of this edition of a community question and answer. And again, thank you very much, Anandji.
Thank you.
And we will hopefully keep on troubling you more often. And please let the questions keep on coming in, and we'll kind of take up those questions with the team at Tata Motors. And in the meantime, happy driving to all of you, and Anand, really waiting for the Tiagos to coming on road.
No, thank you so much, and we're looking forward to, and my entire team is working to make sure that we are able to do that. I would also like to take this opportunity to wish all your viewers on YouTube and your channel a very happy Diwali, and to you and your loved ones a very happy, prosperous and a safe Diwali.
Correct. And subscribe karna mat bhulna.
Thank you very much.